My buddy Dash for this episode of Double Take. Dave, how I just said joined by Dash, but we're joined by Dash
Talking
and
in
Dave.
the third person. That's
The way you
weird.
The way you feel.
Hey everybody, happy post-Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday. If you're listening to us, you should probably be out shopping, or if you're a weird one and shopped early in the morning and wrapped up your shopping, why don't you just chill down and have some lunch with us? And for the European folk, happy Friday Eve, roughly 6 p.m. around your guys' time.
Yeah, this weekend really means nothing to you, I don't think, other than it's Derby d'Italia.
Yeah.
The Derby of Italy. Let's go. We've been waiting for this one. It's been a very slow burn over this international break, it seems. I don't know. You enjoyed your time off.
Yeah, I mean,
You were sleeping.
I went unplugged.
I took today off. I needed to sleep as well. But we're here. We got a bit of news to talk about. We got a couple FC24 matches to play as well. Calgary as well as Inter, of course. So I guess I can just throw that up on the screen. We're just gonna kind of do this cash. It's a day off for a lot of people, anyways, at least in America. I think there are a lot of you guys that don't do the shopping thing or just kind of do a couple things online. All the sales happen like starting Monday, anyways, right? Like, what's Black Friday, anyways? Does anybody care anymore? Do people care?
I mean, that technically is in Europe too. I don't think it's a United States thing.
I think it started to make its way into Europe. I don't know. Europeans, let us know. Is it a thing at all? The Black.
I know they did it. They've done it in England before. So
Yeah, I can see England doing it. I don't know if like Italy, Spain, France, they probably stick their nose up to that. Did you see the Way Up McKenny video I posted in Discord?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was on the UVA channel. It was actually really funny.
Was it on the? See, like I just found that from some random. I don't even know what channel that was.
No, yeah, it was there. Trust me, it was there. Like they had a full segment on it.
Well, I don't know. I found it through ulterior means. It is what it is. It was fun, anyways. Check it out. Timmy
Weah, quite the comedian. It was funny. We were talking about that last night when we were playing Pro Clubs on Discord.
How he's a funny man.
Oh yes. So I'll open it up with the news. So Di Canio said Vlahovic is not an intelligent football player. That's one thing that's been making its rounds. He is a former striker, I believe. Hold on, let me pull this up correctly. Yeah, former forward who has played at Lazio, Juventus, Napoli, Milan, Celtic, Sheffield Wednesday, back when it was called Sheffield Wednesday instead of Sheffield United.
We've been through this before. Stop making that mistake. They're two different teams.
Whatever. And then we have West Ham, and then we have Carlton, and then he finished his playing career at Cisco Roma, which is interesting. But kind of going over the article here. So Paulo believes that Dusan is not football intelligent. I mean, yikes. That's kind of funny. But
he isn't the most intelligent. I don't think that's a hot take.
No, I don't think so. I'm just kind of curious why it's now coming out, right? Like that's the one thing I just find a little bit ironic is all these like pundits and stuff are like, oh yeah. By the way, this guy has no basic skill whatsoever. It's
because they can only go for so long, right? Until the narrative changes, and then they have to get on that bandwagon. Once one of them starts it, and it's like it's obvious because the stats show. Especially after the internet, because before they could have just blamed Allegri, right? Like they always like to, but now on the national team, not a whole lot different.
Well, I mean, he didn't even play at all besides like garbage time minutes.
Yeah, which is what he's getting at Juve, right? So, and he might get on Sunday. We don't know yet. It's still a toss up with Keane.
I think no. From what I hear Keane's solid as far as the starter goes. Like Keane's won it. I mean, granted, Keane didn't do himself justice the last game, but
no.
So let me read the quotes. So citing he lacks the intelligence to play at a top level team. In short, it says if he hasn't broken through in Turin, 75% of it is his fault. If you are strong, no matter how frustrated you may be by few goal scoring opportunities, you have to apply yourself. You need to be willing to commit yourself to managing the few balls that come your way. And
Isn't that like one of the traits of a top striker that you only need a couple touches to make a difference in a game?
yeah, I mean, it's the same stuff that you and I have been saying for the past couple of months. I guess Canio watches us. It says in Florence,
Credit taken.
fair play. In Florence, he was on fire. He always believed in it because he was very involved. He played with joy. With Juve, it's obvious that everything is different, also in terms of pressure. But I've discovered weaknesses in him, in his choices, not being footballingly intelligent when he finds difficulties. So, translation, he cracks under pressure. I'm crude, direct when I say he has no footballing intelligence. I am not saying that he's not good and that he can't play for Juve, but he must know how to do simple things because then he not only puts his teammates in a position to do well, but also to be able to get the ball back to him in the best possible way. And that was pretty much the quote.
Well, I mean, good for a reporter for finally just coming out and saying it.
Well,
it's been a while.
Former player. It wasn't even a reporter.
Pundit, yeah. You know, a media personality.
But yeah, well, and then following with that, apparently, allegedly. So what I've seen is that he also talked about Allegri too here. So he says, "I admire him a lot. His Juventus is an anomaly, a very Italian, a top team that almost always leaves the ball in the opposition. It is a legitimate way Allegri is doing things in relation to what he has at his disposal." I wonder who else has said that. He is optimizing the material that he has, but it may be difficult to get to May through only this way. He could do more. But he deserves applause for another reason. Allegri has only 2 or 3 true individuals that he's managing very well. That's interesting. So there's only 2 or 3 good players on the team. This is where the youngsters come in. Allegri is making many youngsters play. 2 almost play as starters, and the others come in at particular difficult moments, not at 4-0, because Juve hardly go up at 4-0. The other thing he says, this is the way to make them grow, not like other coaches do. They put youngsters in the end of obvious matches or when they have injured players to complain about absences. Then they say, I threw this one and that one, and it's not like that. So much of that then these youngsters leave or disappear. Allegri, on the other hand, praises them by fielding them in real matches. It speaks to them as adult players. He uses a carrot with them, but also the stick. Interesting. And then he says, this is great work. So I think Colin might have a thing or two to say about that quote there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I can see him going on a rant about that.
Yeah. And then the next segment is Chiesa as a second striker. He doesn't convince me. As we saw in the national team with Spalletti, Federico needs space to start wide in a 4-3-3. Chiesa is an excellence, of course. And Allegri can say that in a 3-5-2, he can only put him as a second forward, and that Chiesa has scored his goals. But in the middle, he sometimes gets lost and does not exploit his speed. Okay, like I said, he has the capabilities, but is kind of a dummy when it comes to being in the middle. Do you want to talk about Italy and Ukraine, how Italy bought their way into the Euro?
I guess we have to, don't we? Everyone else has, so why not us?
To be honest with you, I'm going to be frank with you. Italy should not be in the Euros whatsoever.
Well, I mean, they still would have been in the playoffs.
But still,
But they should not have clinched.
No.
Okay, but let's not just say that, because what if Donnarumma saved that or Buddy missed? Let's just look at it for what it is. Like, that was an atrocious call.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Could that have basically bought Italy's way in? Very, very much could have. Most likely. Most likely.
It's kind of obvious when Sheffrin says in a thing like a couple days ago, it'd be a travesty if Italy didn't make it. But
that was just before the match. That was the day before, I think. The Ukrainian coach was like losing his mind. He's like, what the Like you can't. This is like obvious favoritism right here. And then you see that call happen late in the game, and you just have to wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And like, who's the vice president of UEFA, by the way?
Gravina.
So I hate to be on the side that looks like this.
I know. We played terrible. Like against it, and it's freaking Ukraine too. Like I was saying this with in the Discord, and Misak was there too, and I was like, how is it that when Italy plays like a semi-decent squad, they look mediocre as hell?
Because they are. Because Malta and finally for once Macedonia. Yeah, they finally. Well, Spalletti, the style is different. It allows more offense, so they actually produced. And Chiesa, I mean, he had a beautiful game there. But at the end of the day, they're too open when you're playing against a well-drilled team, and you see that. And you even see Macedonia exploit the space once in a while. That was sketchy. Like I was worried for a little bit.
But like for me, that kind of like concerns me that like the cookies were the standard in a sense. The Macedonian cookies were like the standard for a bunch of folks when it came to Italy, right? Because like, with all due respect, they're an Eastern European country that maybe has like a few notable players. And I'm not going to say the argument that a lot of people are saying like, oh yeah, they're not even full-time footballers and shit like that. No, that's stupid. That's not even a fair argument. But when you're the holding Euro champion, and for some reason your objective or goal was to get past an Eastern European country that isn't even within their top 20 in the actual rankings, that to me, it was like, and what irritated me a little bit more was that like they celebrated beating Macedonia like it was that they won the Euro, like a bunch of people were.
I mean, maybe this team needs something to rally behind, but it does really show the state of affairs right now.
It's right? Like when people are like, "Oh my gosh, Juve corto muso against blah blah blah," and then like, look how far the standards at Juve have fallen. But then you got to have the same argument with Italy, right? When where it's like, oh, they like, yeah, they dominated Macedonia, but they should. But and here's the issue: the scoreboard doesn't even tell the truth. Italy nearly fumbled it. They went up 3-0, and then they went to 3-2.
3-2, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I was a little worried there for a bit.
Because had they have drawn that game or conceded one more time, they had to beat Ukraine, and they didn't. And
they had to tie them at the very least, which is what they did, barely, controversially.
So if they tied against Macedonia and then they tied against Ukraine, they'd be out.
They'd be in the playoffs, but yes,
yeah,
and they have the guaranteed playoff spot because they got to the semifinals in the Nations League.
Yeah,
and Rabiot has a hat trick right now,
which is actually pretty funny. But a lot of people are like losing their mind about them being in pot 4. I don't know if you saw the pot the pot distributions yet, but they were thrown in pot 4.
So what was the controversy there? Because I mean,
why was our pot so low? Because you were the worst ranked second place team in qualifying.
I remember it's France. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Who else are they in that pot with? Look that up.
In the fourth pot? It's them, Serbia, and then like the winners of the playoffs.
I saw something with France. What was I looking at?
France was pot 1.
Okay, I don't know.
No,
I don't know what I was looking at.
They're saying that's like they're saying that's the worst draw that they could probably
get. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. It's just like scrolling through Twitter without knowing what the hell you're looking at.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so pot 4 is Italy, Serbia, Switzerland, playoff A winner, playoff B winner, playoff C winner. Pot 1, Germany, Portugal, France, Spain, Belgium, England. Pot 2, Hungary, Turkey, Romania, Denmark, Albania, and Austria. Pot 3, the Netherlands, Scotland, Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia, and the Czechs. So for folks listening in, pot 1 is essentially the highest performing group winners, so like 20 points and above. And then pot 2 is the other remaining group winners, and then pot 3 is the second place teams, and then pot 4 is the remainder of the second place teams / playoff winners. So Italy has a really, really high mountain to climb because, for example, when you're looking at it on the draw, like their worst possible draw could be Portugal or France, and then Romania or Denmark, and then Netherlands. Like Italy
I mean,
has
it's still doable, especially since they somehow do perform when they get to the tournament, if they get to the tournament these days. But that being said, nothing's guaranteed, right? And the fact that we're here worried about potentially playing a depleted Netherlands, like a team that hasn't looked really that great in recent years. Like even Belgium, even if Belgium was there, I'd laugh at it normally. But
they got the GOAT, Lukaku.
I mean, they might because Lukaku's so high.
Yeah, the top scorer of qualifying.
But De Bruyne has, I don't know. I
don't think I haven't seen him play in a while.
Well, he's injured. He's old.
Yeah, boomer.
I don't think he's got much left, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Fair. That's fair. But yeah, I don't know, man. Everyone was like thinking that I still have a question mark with Spalletti as the national team manager. I still do.
No, well, he might not be the long-term solution anyways, right? It's just Conte said no. Who else? There was nobody.
There's nobody.
Nobody worthy anyways. He was the most worthy at the moment.
Yeah, my issue is like you're trying to get Italy to play this modern attacking style, and it just doesn't suit Italy at all.
Well, let's also remember that they had no midfield. Like that's Italy's strong suit, and it has not been since they've had like all these injuries between like who else was out? We had Barella, but that was the only starter. I'm trying to think now off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'm trying to defend a 4-0 lead.
You had the greatest Jorginho of all time.
Yeah, the Jorginho. Like, and on defense, you got Buongiorno, who I read an article today that apparently we're linked with him now all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we need him because he benched Gatti.
I mean, we'll see a little bit more of him. It's cool that he got a call out. Even Gatti, right? People even saw a comment. I was after the Macedonia game, I believe. One of those Twitter things. And it was somebody that was going on about how they don't like Gatti as much because he lacks technical ability. And I'm like,
what?
And Cherby does? Like, if anything, that's what Gatti has, his technical ability, but it's maybe his positioning and his IQ that's lacking. That would be my argument with it.
So this was the next thing that I found that was trending out of that was the people were pulling up Kiesa's dribbling stats. They're like, oh, look at Chiesa completed 6 successful dribbles compared to the 2 in his last Juve match. And I just looked at it. I'm like, do you guys understand what constitutes as a dribble? Like Dave could physically show you what counts as a dribble on FIFA or EAFC. A dribble is you receive the ball, you turn, and you either pass it or you shoot. That's a completed dribble.
You don't. It's not like you're running down the sidelines with it necessarily.
You're not like if you wanted to look at it from that metric, you want to look at players taken on in successful duels. That if you wanted to really do that, but I saw
again,
that.
It's the danger of looking at one stat.
It's
like a single stat in isolation.
It's extreme. Yeah, and that's such a minuscule stat. Like they're like, oh yeah, 6 completed dribbles against Ukraine. Okay, did he do anything with them? No. So it's like, what are we doing? Like seriously, we're
just gonna dive into the FC thing. Look at this 3-way tie at first. Juve, Roma.
That
Napoli.
That Zapata trade for Torino. No, I don't even think that's accurate to what's actually on the roster because their transfer markets are different. Oh, hey,
I know we should. I mean, Dash, you're doing a horrible job. I can't be doing the comments here. Frankie's here. Comicus is here.
Put Allegri in charge of Italy. 0 goals conceded.
He would be a perfect Italy coach, honestly.
He would be.
I can see him. Like, let's just hypothetically say, and just for shits and giggles, we pick up Conte for next season. No, let's not look too much into it. I'm just throwing names out. We get rid of Allegri. If that happens, does Spalletti keep his job? Or does Allegri take over? Like that would also depend. How does Italy do in the summer? Right?
Yeah.
If they just completely crash out, that could be quite a bit of movement just between a few coaches,
See,
like big profile coaches.
well, I think the issue with Allegri going to Italy is I think Allegri won't leave Juve unless he wins something with them because of his ego.
I can, yeah, maybe.
That would have to that plays a factor into it, right? Where it's
Mhm.
like he'll be trolled forever if he were to leave, and people would be like, "Yeah, he ran away," and yada yada yada. So I think Allegri's ego himself is just, yeah.
But like, to what extent? I think he's also intelligent enough to, if he had a really bad season or a couple strings of bad seasons, you would like to think that he wouldn't be like, no, I still got this, man. I still got it. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. What was I gonna? I found something here. So the other thing as well is Locatelli looks like he's trending positively towards coming back for the Inter game.
Interesting. So I had some guys at work yesterday, of course, like make fun of soccer to me and saying how they're all a bunch of bitches. And I told the Locatelli story, and they're like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, so fuck you guys."
I'm like, well, shit. I don't know what to say now.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing. Like, you got to stop looking at like that one Brazilian forward, Neymar, whoever that flops all over the place. Like, look at the game in some perspective. Does it happen? Yes. Can it be bad at times? Yes. And we all hate it. We like find me a fan that loves it, unless it's like a Ronaldo fanboy, whatever. Right? The fanboys maybe. Outside of that, everyone hates it.
Yeah.
So, but even then, like, I've watched NFL, and that's always a thing. Like, oh, the NFL, they're so. I've seen them rolling around, crying and faking injuries too. They all do it. Don't give me this nonsense that like it's exclusive to soccer.
Well, my thing, so like I understand, like, dude, like playing like in the NFL, you're like literally getting hit by a bus in a sense. But the other thing with footy that people don't really understand or comprehend is getting cleated is probably
yeah.
one of the most painful things
Yeah,
ever.
and that's huge. It looks like nothing on TV, but
especially when your leg is wet because they wet the grass, or if it's raining and players use metal tip studs. When that happens, so like ever get cleated by tips like that, it does not feel quite well. Any kind of stud, because it's a small object, but with a small solid object going into your body with force, it's not a good sight. So look, just saying. Frankie's gonna troll me a little bit. Dash was rolling around crying yesterday. I wasn't even crying. I was just pissed. I'm like, I understand that sometimes we need to feed the homeless, but the Packers. That's my charity event. I gave the flipping Packers a goddamn win. If anyone wants to argue, show them the Marcelo leg break. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course there's examples, and at the end of the day, yes, is it still rampant in soccer? Sure, but I'm still going to defend it because these damn rednecks, they don't know.
You know, it's those guys that played like high school football. Those are the ones that are like, yeah, these soccer players are a bunch of pansies. All right, dude, try running 12 miles in 90 minutes.
Yeah, for me, obviously, especially where I am, it's all hockey, just the hockey.
Hockey's brutal, man. Like the amount of energy you use in that, it
is, but at the same time, like you're only doing 30, 40-second shifts.
That's true, but it's just, think about it, right? Like so much can go wrong in those 30 seconds.
No, of course. And it's a lot more to do with like cardiovascular recovery in a lot of ways. It's like how quickly you can recover to get back onto the next shift and go again.
Because, like, for me, I'm more concerned of, like, tearing a muscle playing hockey, right? Because you're skating, and then it's just, like, what happens
Oh,
if
the
one of your legs
speeds.
Yeah,
Yeah, the speeds you move at.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've completely wrecked my shoulder because
It
I was just going full tilt and like smashed into the boards.
like, if your leg gets knocked in a certain direction and it
Mhm.
slides, and it's just like, oh,
The
man.
skate gets hooked into the ice or something and you just twist. Oh yeah, there's like it could be nasty. It could be absolutely nasty. I mean, you do wear lots of equipment, and the modern equipment is really good. Lightweight and protective, like all high speed carbon fiber stuff these days, right? But I mean, yeah, you stick or get a stick in your skates or something. It's
Yep.
not good. It
Yep.
sucks. Oh,
Yeah,
now
because you're essentially you're not, like, you're in the hands of the ice, right? Like, there's only so much you can control.
yeah, but at the top level, like me, I mean, I'm an
It
oaf on the ice. Like I could barely skate. But like professionals, people that know how to skate, it's amazing what they're capable of.
Yeah. So another thing that has these sources are kind of just meh, but whatever for conversation purposes. Thuram offered to Juventus and Inter. Both clubs are hesitant due to the price tag above 40 million. Man United and Liverpool are also tracking the French talent. Real Madrid in the mix as well.
I'm under the impression that
And
if you're gonna spend the money, you have to on this one. If it's
yeah,
40,
but
I think you do.
my other question is, how the fuck does Inter have an additional 40 million?
Well, I think they don't. I think personally
At
they
least the one-
can't afford it unless they start getting creative, or if Zhang starts releasing some money, which I don't even know if he's allowed to with the
China.
politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be like Zelensky. Like, give us money. If not, give us a credit. We pay you back. We just want Thuram.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? They've surprised us before. I mean, oh, there we go. There we go. Keys again. Yeah. I mean, they're creative accounting. They won't get caught, so they might as well try.
Yeah, unless you're apparently the Premier League.
Yeah. So what's going on? So Everton for sure.
Yes.
Being hit. Now I'm hearing United and Liverpool.
That Chelsea as well.
And Chelsea, yes.
Man City too, but I don't see them dropping the hammer on Man City because that's their cash cow right now.
Yeah, no, they're gonna wait until they're like a have-not team again when they go into a slump, and then
Not even.
I think
I think they're gonna wait until Guardiola leaves and then they'll do it.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
There's no way in hell UEFA is gonna step in and be like, "Oh no, Guardiola broke rules. It is done. No, game over." Like I really doubt that'll happen.
Well, is Guardiola gonna be one of those future UEFA executives?
He's already like one of the most protected individuals when it comes to the game. Like him and Messi.
Oh yeah, obviously Messi. I could penalty, of course.
Like I
Sure.
was saying it yesterday when we were playing pro clubs. I'm like, does it not seem odd that the Copa America now the final is being played in Miami?
That's not funny at all.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like it's disgusting. But we all understand why.
And then like someone was like trying to like I saw it on Twitter. Someone was trying to argue about it. I'm like, "Oh no, Messi's not being catered. What are you talking about?" And someone's
Come
like,
on, it's
"I'm like,
so obvious.
he's the GOAT." I'm like, and then like someone comments saying, "Okay, from 2015 to 2021, in that 6-year span, how many international titles or international tournaments were there for him?" And it was like someone like found it was like 8. Like I've never seen 8 international tournaments within a span of 6 years.
Yeah, that is pretty wild, isn't it?
Like I'm just saying, because if we're to statistically compare 20, if we're looking at from let's use Ronaldo, right? So Ronaldo had the Euro 2016, the World Cup of 2018, and then the 2020 Euro, and then the recent World Cup, which is 4 international tournaments in that span of 6 years. Messi, on the other hand, nearly had double.
It's making the stuff up at this point.
Where it was like they were trying so damn hard to get him an international title. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we're reorganizing the Copa America so it matches up with the Euro." Come on now.
Yeah.
Like,
I love when like the lie is so obvious, but they believe it themselves.
like Brazil won it a year and a half ago, and they had to, like, at this point, is it just club football at this point? And don't even get me started on how bad Brazil's fallen.
So there's a bit of controversy with Brazil as well. I read up on. I obviously don't catch that game, but I guess something happened on the pitch, and I don't know. Did you read up on this?
Yeah, with Rodrigo and Messi and all them,
And
and
there's like, yeah, there's
Rodrigo
a
called him a
fight,
coward.
yelling match, yeah, and then maybe Brazil. I don't know how clickbait that article was. Brazil might be docked points.
Well, it was funny because did you see what's his face, the one guy that we wanted, DePaul? Like DePaul straight bush leagued it. It was actually kind of fun. Like it was funny, but like one of the reasons why I don't want him at Juve because of it. I don't want anyone from that. To be honest with you, I don't want anyone from that Argentina national team. Like those guys are the definition of bush league.
Just shithousers.
Yeah, like they don't fit the mold.
Well, I don't know which mold. I guess is what I'm hung up
Kind
on,
of
'cause they're World Cup winners, right? So
They're
obviously
World
not
Cup winners,
trash.
yeah, but it's not saying that they're trash or anything like that, but like, it's more of like the workman's Juve in a sense, where you're kind of like you go in, you dominate, and you grill. Where I just think like Argentina, to me, this Argentina national team seems like those like douchebag team, that douchebag beer league team that tackles you hard and then chirps in your face and taunts you about it and stuff. Like it's not like fair play. It's not like clean play, right? Because Juve is very clean in how they do it. Like you don't really see like Juventino players. Like remember Felipe Melo? Like he was the one that kind of was that bush league player, and like he was outed. And like same thing with
different cultures though too, right? So
yeah, no,
I
for
know
sure.
where you're coming from, but that is their culture.
So like Juve have always had that like that clean image, right? Because Arturo Vidal getting a DUI, and Juve's like, all right, adios, you're going to Bayern.
But if that was in Napoli, it would be different as well.
If they like accepted it in Napoli, you mean as like him being on the team?
Well, like look, oh my god, I'm losing entry, man. But Maradona, right? Like Maradona was protected. Like, he had the mafia. He was connected to the mafia, right?
Yeah, well, it's also Napoli too, but
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like just different cultures.
I think when you're looking at it too, though, like because it's an interesting point when we're talking about the Fajoli situation and we compare it to Arturo Vidal, where like the club's like, oh, Vidal is an alcoholic, we'll send him to AA. They're like, no, he's done, he's out. Or it's like with Fajoli, they're like, oh, he's a kid.
But there's more behind the scenes too, right? Like Vidal, I'm sure, wasn't the easiest person to administer.
Yeah, but he was like by far miles ahead of what Fajoli is.
No, of course, but
like that's what
you've talked about it too, right? With we see the departures in the dressing room and how there seems to be a lot less drama, a la Bonucci and
yeah, but Fajoli owes people money.
Yes, but there's not. It's drama in the sense like yes, but not artificially created drama, like just creating the rumor mill just because you know how it is, like that high school shit.
I know, but what he did wasn't really good either.
No, I'm not excusing him.
No, I know,
but it's the type of drama.
I'm just saying by like a locker room perspective, right? Because the dude lied to his teammates about it, and then it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's maybe it's different board, different lifestyle, right? But I always find it interesting where it's like we treated the Vidal situation as one thing, and like, do I disagree with it? No, it is what it is. But and then it's like you also look at it from the perspective of how like Fajoli's being pampered in a sense, and it's just
like, there's got to be something behind the scenes though, is what I think. Like maybe there is something about him that we just don't see.
Who does he know?
or maybe, yeah. I mean, if you want to start,
what does he know? He's got dirty pictures. And then Sal's here saying what's up, and then Frankie says Juve definitely paid everyone that he owed money to. That's why Gatti got a new contract extension with a raise. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, welcome to the Shithouse Show, guys. Trying to find some other fun stuff that we can talk about.
Did we talk about Spalletti? I want to talk. You didn't care about Spalletti, but I think it's funny.
Okay.
Just how he basically trashes Italy and how he should have never came back and should have stayed at Chelsea, even though they would have never kept him.
Who?
Sorry.
Spalletti?
Did I say Spalletti? I meant sorry.
Oh.
The other S. The other bald guy with the S.
I was like, what? Yeah, Spalletti. Or Sarri's balls. No, but Sarri came in being really petty. I thought that interview was kind of petty, right? Because he's like, oh, they expected me to change everything and, win a UCL, even though I won a Scudetto with a team at the end of its cycle. It's like, bro, that was the expectation when you came in. What do you mean? You took the job with that expectation.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
I have no idea.
Deflects harder than a teenager at this point.
Yeah, no, like it was cringe. It was definitely cringe, but that's kind of why it's funny because it's very quintessentially sorry.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, they expected me to do all this and blah 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 with a team at the end of its cycle. Huh?
But he's always he did make some good points. Like he's always complaining, which is annoying, but at the same time, he is not incorrect with the state of affairs in Italy, which of course we've talked about numerous times. But he's willing to say it for what it is, right? Expose those truths to the world. It's just nobody takes him serious, so it's probably going to go unnoticed.
Saul says,
so nobody wins.
Saul says they asked him if he'd coach in Saudi Arabia, and he said he would if he'd be allowed to smoke. He'll probably have to learn how to use a hookah instead.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything against smoking.
No, I don't think they do. I think, to be honest with you, I think he's going there next. There's no, like, what the hell's he done at Lazio, right? A fluke second place win because we got docked points and like.
Yeah, I love how all these other teams were taking credit for like their high standing.
He's like, yeah, we finished second place,
yeah,
like 25 points.
We got the Champions League this year. Like,
we finished we finished 25 points behind Napoli. We're the greatest Lazio run ever.
Okay, well, this is a trash game. I can't. Had a good game and a bad game.
Bones says, I didn't know y'all were going to be on.
Well, you didn't check the Discord then, did you, Bones? Did you know? Whatever. It's a surprise. It's Black Friday. People are off. We're just having a good time.
Yeah, it's not even structured. We're just like picking up tidbits and we're just talking about it. So
just rolling. We're going to get more serious. We've been off. It's been the international break. So we're rolling in with a kind of a cash. And then
we'll probably yell and swear at Doosan during the watch along. And then, we're back to normal, back to business as usual.
Yeah.
So
we're into the last little stretch before the Christmas break.
So did we ever talk about Mazzari being the new coach for Napoli?
I don't believe we did. No.
So I'm gonna give a big shout out to our good friend Beppe because he absolutely owned one of the Paramount Plus pundits on Twitter. Fucking awesome.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
So giving you guys context, right? So Walter Mazzari is the new coach at Napoli, and he employs a back three, a 3-5-2, which, if you look at how Napoli play, it is the furthest thing from what they do and what makes sense for them.
Yes, but he said he's going to adapt, apparently.
So De Laurentiis made a thing in the contract or made a stipulation that he has to maintain a 4-3-3. So
that's pretty funny that's part of the contract.
So the guy in particular made a tweet about it saying that, like, oh, look at Walter Mazzari being able to adapt to the times and do this and that, and then Beppe responds with, like, bro, it was in his actual, like, agreement.
Yeah, I mean,
he was like, it was in his agreement. What are you talking about? Mazzari's not trying to reintegrate football and get back into the mix.
Sal's just gonna lay it out there.
That's funny.
Yeah, apparently it's like certain ethnic groups that you can't criticize, even though they're doing something obviously wrong. You're just not allowed to socially criticize them. right? It's the same. It's the same with this gentleman.
Yeah,
You can't publicly criticize him, or you get in trouble somehow.
yeah. But it was funny because like big ups to Beppe for doing that because like seriously, man, like you look at some of the takes and it's just like it's almost like without any weed or any meat behind it. It's just like, oh, look at this and blah blah blah. Okay, great. Well, if
But
you're gonna do so-
isn't that the reason why these YouTube platforms exist? Why we exist? Because everyone else is so fed up
well,
with all that like they don't reporters these days, TV pundits, they don't do research. They just they just absorb. They're watching this. It's not necessarily any different than us, right? We just absorb all the content that we can whenever we have a chance. But they're probably just like, here, watch this. This is the tape you're watching today.
well, here's
Go
my
form an
issue.
opinion.
Here's my issue with it, right? Because you and I, we're commentators. We're not journalists, right?
No.
However, we're doing.
I took a commentating course. I'd
How-
never took a journalism course. So
However-
that's where I stand.
However, we've been doing more research than journalists have for stuff, and we're just fucking commentators. We're not reporting.
I think
news.
a lot of it comes down to like how you were raised.
I
And like how good
guess.
or bad your parents are and like the principles that are instilled in you, because clearly the principles in the journalism world are not very strongly established these days, and it's just trash
It's-
all around.
Like I look at some of these journalists on social media or like on Twitter, like these footy journalists, and like with the exception of like your main guys, but like it's like holy hell. Like what kind of investigative like is there even a precedence for you to do any kind of investigative work? Like, oh,
No,
you
it's
were
sports. Nobody really takes it that serious. Like you're not gonna get in trouble for misreporting sports.
yeah, but it's just what irritates me is like you make it on they're projecting this to impressionable fans and like they're
Mhm.
trusting these people because it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's where I'm saying these people clearly aren't being raised properly because they don't have those principles instilled in them to know better.
it's like and it's like Saul's saying, like at this point, it's like super sexy to dunk on Juve, but like without even understanding it, right?
It's always been like that. It's no different. Every sport has that.
Well,
It-
and so like here's the funny thing. So I mentioned earlier about like the oh my god, Chiesa had 6 successful dribbles, blah 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 blah. And it's like when you question that, then someone's like, "Oh, you're pushing a narrative." What? Like when is asking questions like narrative pushing at this point? And hell, like we're commentators. Why would we even want like
Does somebody
not-
come at you personally? Is this a personal thing?
No, it's not a personal thing. It's just me reading things, right? Because, like, for example, if I were to go out and make a statement saying that Danilo is one of the better center backs that we have, someone would tell me, and like, it's a commonality that someone would sit there and be like, "Oh, you're pushing a narrative. That's why you're neglect." Like, what?
I mean, in a sense, yes.
Is
You
it
are
though?
narrating an opinion verbally. It's technically a narrative. Yes.
I'm not
But-
pushing it. How
but
is that
you're
a
not, like-
narrative though?
But I think when you say like pushing, you're not pushing something. It's just you're being narrative.
I'm saying,
Right?
hey,
And
look at objective. Look at object A. It has property 1, 2, 3, and 4. That does not look like it's that bad.
no, but the problem now is people are taking their biases and are trying to attack essentially whatever natural biases you're showing. No matter how objective you are, right? You're showing some sort of bias.
All right,
And
here's my bias. Everyone sucks and everything sucks. Don't bum. There's my
that
bias.
just makes you a horrible person.
I am
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, again, you're fighting with people on Twitter.
Well, it's not a method of fighting. I think it's just me like just it's an observation thing, right? Where we look at something and then it's just like we make a like you make a comment or like you're commentating on something and then everyone like for example, let's use the stuff that we were talking about last week, right? With the Allegri and is Juve actually improving under the numbers. Like you can have a rational discussion with some folks and I'm glad our community has that, right? But like when you look at like other people having that conversation outside of it, so like for example, if I were to say, oh, defensively we're doing actually quite decently well, we can improve in the midfield and the forward position, someone will sit there and say, oh, Dash is pushing a narrative that Allegri is a phenomenal coach and he just does no wrong. Like my issue, the thing that I want to really commentate on, Dave, is like there's so much straw man arguments that it just baffles my mind at this point, right? Where it's like you have to either be Chiesa sucks or Chiesa's being sucked by Allegri.
Well, it
Which
just goes to
seems
show
really weird.
the lack of understanding or maybe the lack of language skills to be able to express yourself properly. But you get the strong arm argument when you don't actually have a strong argument. So you push what you have instead of being able to tactfully explain your point of view with collected ideas and opinions. That's the difference. I mean, if you're just scrolling through Twitter and like, oh, opinion, blah blah blah, and obviously the social platforms allow you to just throw up whatever words you can think of at the moment. It's not a formulated opinion. People are not objectively looking into this. They're just like, this person's going to listen to me, and people. I don't know. I feel better about myself because my opinion's on the internet, so I'm just going to throw it up all over the place. That's the kind of people we're talking about here, right? Not ones that will actually think objectively, like it on a meta scale, right? Like they're just so very focused on that one opinion, that one little thing, without looking at a picture.
Which is fair, right? But like, for example, if I were to say that I don't like, for example, say that Bones or Saul or Frankie or you or in myself, we make something and like we don't agree, like we're not going to agree on it, but then it's like, oh, well, that's just a narrative you're trying to push on. It's like, no, it's an idea that we're bringing up for discussion. There is no narrative to it. Like,
whatever. If they think we have a narrative, and the thing is, these people, you can't fix stupid, right?
No, for sure.
So like these people. And maybe they'll mature one day. Maybe there's like a 12-year-old kid that just doesn't know any better, and maybe they grow up and they realize how life works. But if they're like 45 and they're still, I mean,
I think it's just it's ironic, right? Because you're ostracizing a good chunk of the community, right? Where you're forcing straw man arguments, and it's like you can't really have like discourse or conversations, right? Like, for example,
no.
We have a great relationship with Beppe, but do we agree with everything? No. We always sit there and have discussions about it. It's not like, do we ever sit here and say, oh, this person's just pushing a really stupid narrative or blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, we're commentators.
Yeah, sometimes
it's not
when
that,
they are. What they are, we'll call it out.
But like, I think the thing is like, we're commentators, folks. Like,
stop. Okay, so is this our narrative, how we've been pushing Keane?
You mean like saying for the longest time that Keane is better than Dusan?
That's kind of a narrative.
It's a narrative, but it's also a statement, right? We're saying, hey, Keane's actually performing better and offers more on the pitch than him. And then it's like,
but it can still be interpreted as a narrative.
But are we wrong?
Not in this case.
So we're not. Like, we're not. The thing is, like, did we once make the argument that Keane is this all-around amazing striker that's incredible? But when we said, what was our main arguments that we used statistically, right? We said per production, per value, he is outperforming him.
Per system as well.
Yes. So that was the main thing. Like, and no one was like really like any of the Keane haters weren't really able to really refute it, right? Because you can't refute it because that's currently what the numbers are saying right now.
Oh, but they tried.
So it's not, yeah, they did, but it's not like, for example, I'm pulling something out of my ass where I'm like, oh yeah, well, if Dusan got this or that, he'd be an amazing striker. And it's like, okay, great. Where's the numbers to back it up if he got that?
And I think, and I mean, we change, we're humans, right? Our opinions change as reality changes, right? Last year, we were defending the shit out of Dusan, saying you gotta let him settle in. So, and I think that's where your definition or the definition we're working off of as what a narrative is, I think that's what differentiates perhaps what you're saying is that like we take it a day at a time, a week at a time, and see how things change.
It's fluid. There isn't like, for example, perfect example for that is me and Keane, right? Dave has receipts on this. Dave knows I was not the greatest supporter of Keane in 21, right? I was telling Dave, I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid offers nothing. But then I continued to watch, and I saw the progression. I saw the development. And then I told Dave over the summer, I think this kid might got it. Like, I think there's something there. So the idea is, and it's like always, and I always like to kind of impart this on folks, is like, be fluid with things, right? Like, one week you might not like Delit, or one week you might not like Dusan, but it doesn't mean that like you're dead set on him, because like, for example, some people might not like Danilo and that's it. It's like,
well, let's look at a very obvious one right now that has affected all of us. The Fajoli crying incident.
Yeah.
How many opinions changed after we found out what he was crying about?
Oh, a bunch. Guarantee you a bunch. I'm one of them.
Right. So like sometimes you just have to be like, yeah, man, I was wrong. I mistook. I read that one wrong. This is the new reality. This is what I think now.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that, since we have some people that are piled in listening, and we can ask them in the chat, I want to know, what do you guys utilize the international break as far as a threshold or as like a benchmark? So my thoughts on it is I don't consider it much of a benchmark as far as like an observational piece. I think it, if anything, I think Euro qualifying for an international break, I think that's more so a confidence booster for your players, for them to get some minutes, some, in most cases it should be low pressure minutes, but if you're playing for Italy, high pressure, unfortunately. But I think it's one of those things where you go out there, you get some minutes, get the ball under your feet, and try to string some things together and experiment a little bit. I don't really rate it as anything big, right? Because this is my argument why I think the international breaks aren't really that big for a player benchmark. Is they're 2 matches against more than likely players that you don't really play against consistently, or you don't really see that often. And it's 2 matches within 3 days, right? 3 or 4 days. And you only train together with your national team for roughly about a week or so, and then you get sent back to your club. So I always tell people, and this is my personal opinion, right? Don't read too much into international football performances. Like, it's really not.
It's a sample.
It's a sample. Like, if a player does good, great, right? If one of your players does good during the international break, awesome. Hopefully he uses that confidence and translates it back to his club. Really, the only time that you're a little bit concerned about the international break is if your player does not play or does not get a lot of minutes, barring the context, right?
Are you leading into something?
No, because you can use it for both, right? You can say that Keane didn't really get that many minutes during his
That's
international
true.
break. Same
That is
thing with
true.
Dusan, right?
Yeah.
So, though, like, you want to look at it in terms of scale, right? I think, though, and if we want to talk about Dusan, I think it's very concerning that uh that Mitrovic is like effectively benched him. And I said this on Discord. I spoke with a bunch of folks that follow the Serbian national team, and they're kind of like, okay, like, you guys aren't upset that he's not playing? No. Mitrovic
They
scores.
didn't pay 85 million
They
for him.
didn't. We did.
He plays for free essentially, right? So
And
they
then
don't care.
Sal brings up a good point here, especially for skill players are playing out of position. So, like, I don't know. The international break for me is just kind of like, it's 2
Oh
things
yeah, what was the big one? There was a big one playing out of position.
for us, for Italy.
Havertz. Was it Havertz as left
Kai
back?
Havertz, yeah, as a left back. Kai
He's an
Havertz was playing
attacking
as a left
midfielder
back.
playing a left back, and we make fun of Allegri.
I know. That's so, like, there's 2 things you want out of it, right? Your players to build or maintain some confidence, and as well as nobody getting injured. Those are like the 2 things you really want out of the international break. Unless your national team is playing for tournament qualification, you have a little bit of a dog in that fight. But, like, for example, unless you're really like, if you're a fan of the Eastern Europeans or like the smaller countries in Europe, I can understand a little bit more excitement for the international break, because you get to see your national team try to qualify for
It's
a tournament.
perfect for that Southern European middle-aged male, jobless male, sorry, that lives at the cafe, and will just have another espresso as whatever random ass Eastern European team's playing.
Because,
You
like,
know the type.
yeah, because I'll ask you guys this: do you guys give a shit that Chiesa had 6 completed dribbles against Ukraine? Like,
I
does it?
care more that he had a couple nice goals.
Like, I care more about the goals he scored against the Cookies instead of like the game against Ukraine. Like, doesn't matter, right? Like, is that much of a big deal? Like, oh my gosh, he had 6 completed dribbles that accounted to nothing against
If
Ukraine.
if his couple goals, let's say his performance, if he picks up a bit of momentum and brings that to Juve, then yeah, of course I care. But then conversely, you can get injured or
Exactly.
lose that momentum as well. So it's
But
double-edged sword.
I'm getting concerned that we're looking at player stats like fantasy football right now, right? Where it's like, you don't really care about the end product, you just care about points in a sense. But it's like, he's a forward. You want him to either do one of 2 things, right? Score or an assist.
Mhm.
Since, like, when has Ronaldo and Messi, let's use those 2 right now for this discussion. Since when has Ronaldo and Messi become like, oh my gosh, look at Ronaldo, he dribbled past 40 people this game or completed 40 dribbles? Or like, same thing with Lionel Messi. Like, when has that stat ever been something for the
No,
basis
the
of
only
argument?
time you ever really see that is if it's like a big number, like if the stat stands out for something in
Yeah, if
particular.
it's
But
in
like 6 dribbles is not a stat that stands out to me.
especially when you have to look at the context of what's considered a dribble, right? It's you receive the ball, you take 2 or 3 steps in a direction, and then you release the ball willingly.
And
Right.
because he's playing on the wing as well, so he's going to be playmaking a little bit more, moving the ball a little bit more
He
on
has space.
those wide positions.
Yes, he'll have space. And like for example, Chiesa crossing the ball essentially would have counted as a dribble. He takes it, receives it, moves a couple steps, and crosses it. Like for example, if you were to pull up Kostic's stats, Kostic has a lot of dribbles completed. You want to know why? Because he sends the ball into the ass of the other player so many times.
Yeah.
So my little like TED talk here is like I implore you guys is try not to get lost into the weeds of statistics, because I was just a little bit confused on how that was such a big conversation over the previous weekend, where it really doesn't mean much, right?
A lot of it too, I'm gonna say it's international break. Nothing too crazy happens, especially like a few days ago that the whole like English teams losing their points potentially. That I mean, there's been news, but overall it's been relatively quiet, especially on the Italy side. I mean, because we're unexciting, I suppose. So yeah, people try. They reach for things, and I think this was the reach to talk about because there was nothing to talk about.
Yep, no, for sure.
I mean, other than the penalty, that was it. So yeah, if you're one of these guys that just want to like have a Twitter take, then you're gonna start digging up some obscure stats and try to push a narrative. Is that what we're pushing as like the word of the day, the narrative?
Probably. I'm so glad you and I don't really use social media for Juve stuff.
Oh man,
you use it for your puppies. Use it to sell puppies.
Yeah, I don't even know why, because this dog is amazing. We still got a black lab. Anybody in the Ottawa-ish area, if you want a black lab, we got him.
So Saul is saying that Italy is screwed at the Euros, which I 100% agree with him. Scamacca looked terrible. Raspadori can only do so much. Italy does not have a consistent right winger outside of Chiesa. And it goes to show how dependent
should be.
It just goes to show, right? When Federico Chiesa goes down, Italy's absolutely screwed.
Yep.
Like literally.
Yeah, and Zaniolo as well. He's been playing right wing a bit, and he's nothing.
It's Zansuolio. I think he needs to go back to Galatasaray for some rehab.
I think so. Yeah, he had it made in Turkey.
Yeah, I'm surprised he went to the Premier League, but hey, there's always a home for him at Galatasaray.
Chasing that next bitch. You know how he is.
But yeah, I don't have any confidence in Italy right now. I just maybe I'm old school, and I think the new generation of the Italian national team is kind of just really soft.
It's not just you. No, it's not just you. You're old, yes, but your opinion is fresh.
I'm touched. So I have little to no confidence in what.
Did you listen to Sam this week? The Bordello?
No, I didn't. I slept.
Yeah. It still sounds like you're asleep.
I know.
But no, he broke this down a bit too. Sam's 27, 28, which I think is around your age anyway. It's not like you guys are actually fairly young.
We're boomers because we love calcio. Forza Italia.
Yeah, we're just like naturally old men because we watch Italian soccer.
Yeah,
you have to be that way apparently.
Yep. So do spill the beans, Dave. What did our good friend Sam say?
Oh, just more of kind of what you were on, right? Just breaking it down. How, because he loves the national team. His demographic is like alpha male wops, essentially, right? So, I mean, we're all into the national team, so he likes to talk about it a lot because he's really into it, as is the demographic. So yeah, he just breaks it down, gets into it. The last one was with Magnignani. What's his name? He was an ex-boxer. Anyways, another WAP. The two of them break it down. They go at it.
So I have this comment. I got it from, I think this is Maurizio Scanavino. He's the CEO. And he said, last season ended with third place on the field. Next gen season was excellent. I would like to emphasize the strategic value. And this was what they said at the shareholders meeting.
Yes, which we didn't even mention.
Nope.
Shareholders meeting
I
happened.
just
Go
saw
on.
it. We're terrible at our job at commentating. We suck. I would like to emphasize the strategic value of the project. There are players from the second team permanently in the first team squad. Also, the addition to the seniors, Mereti Fajoli and Illing. This year, we added Hoysen, Yildiz, and Anonj. He's a first teamer?
Yes, he technically
Permanently?
is. They did make it.
Like
Yeah,
permanently?
I believe they did at the
Holy-
beginning of the season because of
holy
the roster.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, that one kind of slipped under the radar.
Oh, damn. All right. So, who are talents of great potential? The Juve women who won the Coppa Italia final, thus increased our trophy room. We also brought in players such as Bremer, Kostic, and Cambiaso and Milik, whose cost was recovered through the disposal of numbers of players, Debench and Kulusevski.
And Sal saying hasn't played yet, but got called up.
Called up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact situation he got called up for.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's because there was a couple injuries right at the beginning of the season that they needed at least some sort of backup, and he got the call up.
Yeah, I was wondering because, with Yildiz and Hoysen, they're essentially officially first team players now with their new contracts. I wonder if Nonj is like that or not. But let's see what.
Well, you know what? Let's do this. We are going to do the Google share screen as we go to the Juve website to find the official roster.
So the other thing too, the 200 million capital increase does not change Juve's Mercato plans. Gentili and Mana's work will start soon. Investments on only young players. The names remain the same. DePaul, Ruiz, Hoiberg, I don't know why he's still on there, Phillips, and Lazar.
Teams, first team. Here we go.
And then Salah saying he asked Beppe asked Romeo on the live, or was it you or was it Beppe that asked him? Which next gen I said prize, man. I cannot read today. Product had the highest resale value, and he said Nonj. He's pretty damn good from what I've seen.
We haven't really seen. He's not on the website here. Got Keenan.
Oh, Sal said he did. Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to give you credit. I didn't want to say that something that wasn't true. So
and Hoysen, but yeah, Nonj is not there. Let's check the transfer market.
So speaking of the other youngsters, Luis Hassa's contract expires in 24, but there is an option to extend to 25. Many clubs have shown interest in him. Borussia Dortmund and Leipzig are ready to submit important bids. Juventus are working on an extension. I hope they don't lose him. He's a really promising young kid.
So is it Cyril Nonj? What's this now? What is this?
Cookies.
They want my money now too?
They want your cookies.
Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, this is not what's his first name? I'm losing it. This is not the right guy. That's not like edgy Ange. No, man. What's his first name now? This is gonna kill me.
Just type in Juve next gen roster.
Nonj Bonde. That's it.
Frankie wants you to give them their cookie. Give them your cookies.
I'll give you my cookie. I think.
All right.
There we go. Okay.
Found him. 150K.
Joseph Nonj Bonde. And he's still labeled here as the next gen.
So that means I think he hasn't signed an exclusive first team contract yet.
Yeah. So he's maybe mistaken, and he did get a first team call up, but
yeah, he's been called up. I know. Deal. Yeah, I know for sure he has. So continuing.
Thank you.
Continuing, Scanavino's comment. So he says the drop in TV rights was impactful, especially for European competitions as a non-participant. It's a minor impact compared to the previous year. The cost analysis shows significant savings. The most significant effect on the market was Dime, a young man of talent and potential. The most significant exit was that of Dennis Zakaria. In the same period, the important renewals were made to consolidate the framework of the team. I refer to Danilo and Rabiot. And then he continues here saying, Giuntoli was appointed sporting director, reporting directly towards me, assisted by Giovanni Mana, the director of the entire sports, for the management of the entire sports side. I don't understand that. He's saying that Giuntoli and Mana are both in charge of the sports side. And then he says, we had an excellent result from the season ticket campaign with a growth of 7% for a total of 17,000 season tickets. We have launched a new season ticket campaign for the second half of the season that will end in mid-December. And then Jeep. He says, Jeep, I can officially confirm that the sponsor is expiring at the end of the season. We're in negotiations with several brands for the following season for the jersey sponsorship. So I wonder who it is.
I think it's going to be something to do with the Stellantis group.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's Emirates. And then I have the thread for.
I hate those ones.
I have the statement of Gianluca Ferrero during the shareholders meeting. So he says this. Here we go. In 2023, we had sporting proceedings involving the so-called capital gains and salary maneuvers. The first one ended in May 23 of 2023 with a penalty of 10 points. The second proceeding was closed with a 700,000 euro fine. This is the end of the proceedings brought by the Federal Prosecutor's Office against Juventus. Then we had, for the same reasons, sports proceedings based off the concept of lack of fairness, correctness, and at UEFA level, the reasons are the capital gains, the payroll maneuvering, and the proceedings. All the proceedings have closed in July of 2023, with Juve excluded from the European Cups in which it had to participate in, and this closes all of the proceedings at the UEFA level. And then he follows up by saying, there is a pending criminal case that is the investigation from which they all originated. The criminal court has declared the Turin office incompetent and moved it to Rome. At the moment, we have no update on this. We have two CONSOB proceedings. It asked Juventus to publish the so-called pro forma of how financial statements would have been based on the indications provided by CONSNOB. I'm just going to call it Snob because screw them, which does not share the company's views. They asked us to show the public shareholders what the effects would be. The pro formas concerning the previous financial statements were published, and we made press releases. We took the pro formas, giving maximum information to the shareholders, the market, everything on the effects that if we had followed their indications. Always three aspects: the capital gains, the salary maneuver, and the recompass of players sold. And then he says this: the Dragozin Cambiasso operation leads to a capital gain of 2.5 million against what was double trade, to which gave Juve a 3.5 million quid pro quo. So they're saying that they actually had less of a capital gains from that than what was being reported. And then he says, on Fagioli or Pogba, we're very sorry as a board, club, and individual for what happened. On Niccolo, we can confirm our support for his therapeutic and training path. The renewal of his contract goes in this direction. Paul, we are waiting for the start of his doping trial. We are waiting for the developments. We have no particular news on Pogba. And then he says, the Super League, we have done what 80% of the teams that were originally supposed to be a part of this contract have also done. That is, we have sent a request to terminate it. However, we are waiting from the decision of the European Court scheduled for the 21st of December. And then he says, I had said that I would try to defend the club in all relevant venues and have done so. We fought to stop the -10. It is not much, but it is a small victory. When we reached the last stage, we stopped because it was not possible for us to go any further, and we respected the verdicts. That might trigger a bunch of people. On the salary maneuver, we settled with a fine, also mindful of what happened before. UEFA, we risked being out of European Cups for 2 years, and that is something we could not face. The damage would have been enormous. So I'll let you guys decide. How do you guys feel about that last part that Ferrero said?
That was like just a whole wall of like legal speak.
Kind of
like melted my brain a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of an important dude, so.
No, he is, of course. I did read it offline earlier in the morning. So like what? I mean, there was a lot he said. So which one specifically do you want us to answer?
His regards in defending the club, because I know a lot of people are like, he didn't really defend us or anything or blah blah blah. So,
Mm.
what do you guys? How do you guys feel
Mm.
about that?
See, I think personally, I don't look into that too much. He's an accountant. I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
he's a numbers guy, and those guys have a certain way of talking.
Yep.
Which is very what we just got. You know, so it's on point in that sense. That it's never the most charismatic guy. Like, I mean, Canadians, we can go our last prime minister before we got the new guy. He was fiscally responsible. He was an accountant type, balanced the books, blah blah blah. Not to get too political in the matter, but the next guy, the guy we have now, was fun and exciting, and now we have no money. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, not wrong. And I think the last tidbit that we have here is Bologna have offered a 2-year renewal to Thiago Motta. But the moment the coach has decided to take his time because offers of big clubs could be soon on the table. In the summer, there are rumors of PSG, Napoli, and Juventus. And then Sala saying the issue is the club isn't proactive at defending against the allegations, given no communication, and leaves the fans blowing in the wind. Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like the tactic is just to not have it blow up in the media, to keep it as quiet as possible, because the media is all against us, because it's all Milanese and Roman newspapers. So I don't think we can win if we play that route. So I think just strategically, it makes sense for the club to keep things as quiet as possible, to give the newspapers, the media, less to talk about, because nothing will come positive from that route, right? So in a sense, yes, it leaves us high and dry without any open and transparent communication, but it also protects us from the media windfall that would happen with too much information. So it's a fine line. It can teeter either direction in terms of positive, negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's going to split opinion too, I think, whether you agree with it or not. There's really, I don't know. You just have to kind of trust the management that they're doing their job. This is who we have, and this is the route they decided to take, right? So I'm kind of on the fence myself. Yes, I love open communication and transparency. I want to know what's happening, but I also understand the perspective of like the protecting the image. Fine line, either way. I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that one?
It's like, right. I do agree with, like, hey, the club should be a little bit more transparent in what they're doing and how they're doing it. I think the one thing though, like, because I think a lot of people with their expectations is they're expecting you to kick down doors and say, we're not guilty, we're innocent, and yada, yada, yada. And I think, there's a certain way that you got to go about doing things, right? Where you don't want to be the loudest guy in the room, but you want to be the strategic guy, in a sense, the quiet strategic one. But it's one of those things where it's really difficult, right? Because we have to look at all the political red tape that comes into the corporate world when it comes to things like this. Certain things you can say, certain things you can't say. So it's a multifaceted issue, but I do think, as far as like communications of what's going on and what it is, I think Juve should have been a little bit more transparent. But I think it's more so like we didn't know what the issue was, right? Like, how many times were we sitting here on stream like, what the hell's going on? Like, what's this and what's that? Like, there wasn't like a clear understanding of what was being thrown at us. Like, remember, it's like, oh, it was transfer market that was being used as a basis, and then there wasn't transfer market, then it was this, then it was that, and then apparently Ronaldo had a contract signed in with a napkin with Baratici about extra money that he's trying to get. Like, it wasn't. And when we were commentating on Juve's channel, when we were on their Twitch channel, I remember us just getting berated with stuff like that, and people were looking at us and we're like, guys, I don't know, like, stop asking me this.
Yeah, and of course our viewership here is not like that. Twitch was bad. Everyone knows Twitch is the worst place ever. But in any case, it shows how it can teeter either way. If you give too much information, you open the doors to be attacked on different fronts. You don't give enough information, people will make up their own narrative.
I do think, and kind of where my evaluation of the management is going to really occur is I'm going to start really putting my glasses on in January. I think this is going to be crucial for me to see what the
Bones. Blink if
blink
you
if you
can't
can't talk about it. Dude, oh my god, that was so funny because someone actually asked us that. They're like, hey, blink if you can't, like, you can't highlight the chats on Twitch, but like someone's like, blink 3 times if you're not allowed to talk about it. And like we're just like,
yeah, it's like, oh my god, guys, finally somebody figured it
I
out.
was like, somebody with some reason. Sal says, I give the management new slack. Andrea left the club very vulnerable, so they did their best to get things on course.
And
Yeah.
that's part of it. The guys that they put in charge weren't necessarily leadership type people, right?
Yeah.
They're not the guys that would lead the club, be the face of the club. They're accountants and lawyers.
So I think they've set everything steady now. I mean, they closed everything out in July. As far as the financials and stuff, I think they've organized everything. So now, for me, I'm curious to see what they do in January. That to me is going to be a statement of intent in a sense, right? Where you see whether or not they're fluid or whether or not they're firm in what their objectives are. So the main objective is top 4, right? At the beginning of the season, it's top 4. Or where I say a fluid, and I think that's the word of the day because I've used it for multiple segments, but
No, it's narrative.
it's a narrative. Okay. I'm gonna
You can't just change the word of the day.
One of dash. I'm making a cult.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna make a Turn Giants cult. I'm gonna be the diabolical leader. I'm gonna start wearing.
We already have too
robes.
many of those people in the community. Come
I
on.
know. I'm gonna start wearing a robe and a hat and everything, and be like, "Welcome, children of the dash."
Oh boy.
But I think this is where we're gonna understand whether or not the management is fluid in what their objectives are, or hard plan on what they're trying to do. Because, like, for example, say that we're either plus or minus 3 points from first place, 3 to 4 points, maybe 5. We're going to see, are they going to push for the title and get the resources you need for the title without breaking the bank, right? I'm not expecting them to spend over 100 million. But are they willing to invest 20? Are they willing to invest 35? Or are they willing to do loans with options or obligations to buy during January? I'm very curious to see if they make an intent to retool it. I'm not saying that they need to get a Mkhitaryan. I'm saying age-wise, right? You're not going to get Mkhitaryan off Inter. I'm not saying that they get like a 31, 32-year-old midfielder that's in his prime or towards the end of his prime to fill in a gap. I'm very curious to see their strategy and how they go about it, because that for me is going to be the first indicator where you see how Mana and how Giuntoli and how the board work. So that's going to be a big statement of intent, right? I think that's where I'm excited for the game on Sunday, but I'm more excited for January because I want to see, did they really turn a corner, or is it just,
Dash has transfer market fever coming in early.
I bet.
I think once December comes around, I think it's we're close. We're close to talking about it a lot.
That, and if they need someone to drive Dusan to the airport, let me know.
Oh man.
Like, hey, so this was one of the things that came out yesterday. The growth decree ends at the end of the year, so his salary adjustments.
Yeah, there's the government wants to. Are they actually getting rid of that then? That's passed through government then. All right, so no more growth decree. They're tired of tax breaks.
So as our good friend Colin would say, no more importing players outside of Italy.
Yeah, that's part of it. Dash, when are we doing the pregame tomorrow?
You want to just do it in the regular call-in time?
Do a call-in style?
Yeah, it's Saturday, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want.
We could.
That's what we're doing. 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, 5:30. So you guys hear it here first, so you guys don't hit us with the, I didn't know you guys were live.
Yeah, I mean, man, like we've said, it's this time of the year, we've been extra busy, maybe not as involved in the background, keeping people up to date with things as we normally have. We're just kind of like flying in here.
We just need to do better. I know.
We need to, I mean, we need a secretary. Anybody want to be a secretary?
Yeah, you want to be a scheduler? Be our booker. No, seriously, like we just need a booker at this point, right? Like
the manager.
We'll just give them the social media pages for the Twitter and the Instagram, and then just be like, your job is to book guests for us.
Yeah, hey guys, you're talking to this person today. Go.
Yeah. Like, hey, this person's available these 3 days. When can you two make it? And then we'll be like, all right, cool. We'll do this. All right, send it. Like, I think, oh my goodness, that would make life so much easier if
It
we had
would.
like an actual booker.
Yeah, it really would. Especially since we both hate social media.
Yeah. I hate sliding in DMs.
But I do it so well.
You do it so well.
I just like cold DM random people. Hey, you want to be on a podcast?
Hey, you guys want to talk to us?
They usually say yes.
Yeah, I know.
Weird.
It's your Canadian charm.
Maybe.
They're like, oh, he's Canadian. He's not going to come out there and just absolutely tear me apart on video.
Yeah. No, we've had good luck. It's only been that asshole from Toronto that said no. So screw him.
Yeah. Damn wops.
No, I don't even know where he's from. He was in WAP though.
No, I know. He was a Toronto FC fan. So, I mean, that was...
Yeah, we want to talk Berna.
It was funny because he told us that our channel was small and we're like 5 times the size of his.
Yeah. Well, you know, whatever. You can't, like I said, you can't fix up people.
Can't win
It's
them all.
fine. All right then. Well, we have a long weekend coming up. Then we're gonna do a call-in pregame. Toronto is asshole city. Yeah, he knows. I think he is from Toronto, if I remember correctly.
You know what? Let's throw it out to the viewers. Who do you guys want to see us collab with?
So it hasn't been called WAP in decades. You got to listen to Sam from the Bordello then, because he's bringing it back.
He's a comedian that's very very good friends with Dave and myself. So like he's a big Juventino, but he also loves doing comedy. So like his podcast.
Well, he's a comedian, of course.
Yes, he's a funny guy, a very funny guy. So like Sam Adamo, the Bordello, you can look. I think if you type in Sam Adamo on YouTube, he'll pop up. But he does live shows. He also does his the Bordello podcast. Talks Italy, talks about a bunch of other things as well. But LJJ says Allegri. I don't think we can book Allegri as much as you guys would want that to happen. I don't think that that's possible.
I can find a bald guy on the street if you want.
Get a bald guy, have him dress up like Allegri.
And Bones, Sam stuck in New York. He's in New York for a month. I think he's got a couple weeks left. He did actually want to, but I guess wherever he's doing his thing, the infrastructure would not support it. So we almost did have a watch going for Italy, Macedonia. We tried. Didn't work out. But I told him to stop being such a bitch and just come on the show. So we'll see what happens in the future.
He's like telling us he wants to. I think it's just now that we've kind of gotten like a schedule, so now we know what days to give him ahead of time. But yeah, I got a feeling Sam will be back. We will bring Sam back. Trust me. Sal wants us to get Bernadeschi. Can we even get burnt? Like, will his Botox even look good on camera at this point?
No, it wouldn't.
Come on.
Doesn't look good off camera either.
Come on. Anthony says Allegri definitely listens to your podcast.
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
Does he?
Does he even speak English that well?
I think he does.
Maybe. I'm not sure how well, but I'm sure he understands some of it.
You know who else? There's like some other people that like made certain like statements and stuff like that, and like I was getting messages from it, like, "Hey, I think these guys listen to you or something," and I was just laughing my ass off. Oh, Frankie mentioned it earlier on Discord. He was like, "Yeah, I was reading Twitter, and he's like, I saw something that looks similar to a take that you guys made, and like someone was making like a statement on Twitter, and a bunch of people were making replies that were similar to what you and Dave make, and I was just cracking up in laughter." He says Allegri listens to us on a burner account.
Maybe.
Plot twist: Allegri is Bones.
And I know it would be great to have like Timmy or McKenny. The problem is when they're attached to a team, yes, especially a team like Juve, it's so hard.
Juve is very anal about who they have collaborate and stuff. Like, for example, with Dave and I working with Juve for like, what was it, eight months or so, they wouldn't let us talk to any of the players. Like, it'd be very difficult to get a hold of it. Like, the only person that really has that is that has that ability is Beppe, but even then it's whoever they send them. It's not like,
that's through Juve social media.
Yeah, Juve's social media team is like, okay, you can talk to this or you can only talk to that. So it's not like, yeah,
it's all predetermined.
And like, even because technically McKenny and us follow each other on Instagram. Fuck, you get Kanye on. I'm surprised he didn't ask for Gatti.
Yeah, man. I mean, he would be fun.
Yeah, if there's like YouTube content creators or like social media folks that you want us to get on, I'm sure probably towards the holidays we might be able to pull Romeo Agression. I just have to message him and say,
There's
hey,
still like Adam Digby we haven't had in a while.
yeah,
There's guests that we have had that there is the Festivus special that should be coming up. Let's find out when Festivus is this year.
yeah, because that actually be fun because if we can give Beppe like a good lead as far as like when we're doing it, I think he could accommodate and give us an hour or two.
Maybe he can. Why is my calendar not working? What the? Okay, December 23rd is a Saturday. Perfect.
Oh, and then we can get Samet and then Richard as well too.
Yeah. Oh, everyone. Well, the whole idea is everyone that we've had on as a guest, we re-invite on for just like a bullshit episode.
Yeah, maybe get Sousa because I think Rabona's back.
Yeah, he's back too. He's been at it. So maybe, yeah. 23rd, mind you, is a busy time of the year. A lot of people just do have commitments, but I mean, you're not going to get everyone anyways, right? So
we're the only thing that matters.
yeah, we're the only losers. We'll be.
Oh, speaking of that, I need well, the group stages aren't done yet, but when the group stages finish for the Champions League, I think I need to get Richard and Samet so we can review and talk about, you know, what we predicted, what we thought, and what ended up happening for the group stages too. So that'll be a fun conversation to have.
Yeah. So let's look at the schedule. December 23rd, we play away to Frosinone, 6:30 a.m. that match.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That would be fun. So that means we have an early morning and a late night for Festivus. Buckle up. I hope you're ready. Time to celebrate.
Anthony says Fajoli exclusive. Make him cut a gambling.
Part of his part of his
hey, what if we might need to contact his agent. Oh my god, that'd be hilarious. Contact his agent and have him just come on here and give us a spew on how gambling's bad and you shouldn't do it.
I wonder.
That might not be a bad reach. It's a reach, but not bad.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. I'll start looking up for Jolie's social media.
Look up for Jolie's agent.
Just that might actually be an in. It's still a stretch, but it might.
David, the sky is blue, water is wet, and David is getting swole. What else is new in the world?
Training in.
He's like,
yeah, you don't want to jerk that too hard. Just listen to us.
Hey, I got to do it with the accent. He's like, hello, beauties. I will have to rewatch this later. I'm getting the back training in right now. I'm making it super yoked.
Oh man.
And then Bones says on
the note.
On the Pogba note.
What does he want to say? What?
Guys, do you have any questions? we're getting ready. We're getting ready to oh, he's saying the Pogba deal.
Oh, the Pogba drug, yeah.
The Pogba drug. Alleged Pogba drug.
Yeah.
And then David says, close enough, Josh. Close enough.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys, I think we're going to sign off in a minute. Do you guys have any last minute questions or any final thoughts that you guys want to ask us before we hop off? Because
I got to start a puppy stream in half an hour for my wife.
Dave has to do other obligations. So he's cheating on me with dogs.
Deal with it, man.
Yeah, clearly, I guess so.
There's 6 weeks, 2 more weeks, man. I got them for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we're killing this. We're back tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow, and we're back Sunday.
Spill them up.
Bones is asking pro clubs. They're probably playing tonight. Yeah,
I can see that happening. I'm live streams. Obviously,
there's going to be a stream. There's going to be a watch long and a call-in show after. Yeah. Come on now.
Match day. That's what we call it. I don't know if you guys noticed the naming convention, but when we do the live stream watch along with the post game, the thumbnail will say match day. So it's like all inclusive.
Dave's trying to save him from making 2 thumbnails.
Well, no, it just makes sense, right? Like if it's just going to be a watch along without a post game for whatever reason, I'm going to call it.
We're going to do
a watch along. If it's just a post game, I'm going to call it that. But it for like the game day, everything included, it will be called match day.
Should do a drinking game. How many times Dash rages at a certain player or something like that? Have like a criteria for it.
That's actually perfect for the Festivus game. 6:30 in the morning. Might as well start off with some coffee with, I don't know. I'm not a big coffee and Bailey's guy. What could I put on it into it? 6:30 in the morning. Or do I
Irish
just start
coffee.
smashing
Get
eggnogs?
Jameson. Just get Jameson.
I do like Jameson.
Just get creamer and Jameson and coffee, and then there you go, Irish coffee.
Irish coffee doesn't, like the true one in Ireland, if you will, it doesn't have, it's not creamy. It's just,
No, I know.
it's just
I
a
know.
straight up whiskey, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird anyways. It makes your
Well,
coffee
if
taste
you
funny.
want, there's I forgot the fuck. I think it's called it's a Stella, but there's an alcoholic creamer that you use for coffee.
Oh, there's like Kava. There's a bunch out there, yeah. There's
Yeah.
not enough Wacky for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If Duzon starts against Frosinone, I'm probably gonna be yelling.
Zambuca at 6:30 in the morning. I don't know.
Sambuca. Get some limoncello. Like Dave and
I
just
love
have a
limoncello. Yeah, I love it. I could. That's
Gosh.
more of a summer thing, but I can smash that.
I remember someone gave me a glass and they're like, "This will put some hair on your chest." I'm like, "It's lemonade," and then someone was limoncello. I'm like, "What is?"
Oh, it's high. That's if it's done right, it's like at least 40%. It's great.
Oh, it's
actually, you know what the drink this season
mouthwash.
may be? I'll Canadian the hell out of this, but Sortilège. It's from Quebec, obviously, with the funny name. It's maple whiskey, and it's phenomenal. So good.
I've made that before.
Oh yeah, I've made my own too.
Oh yeah, it's a good seller, especially now during the holidays.
Oh, really so good. I mean, literally, all I did one time, you know, when you're hard up, and Sortilège is kind of expensive. You pay premium for it, but I had half a 60 of Alberta Premium, only the finest. It's not that fine, but I love it. And then I went to Costco, got a liter of maple syrup, and just poured that bitch into the other half of the 60 and shook the hell out of it.
You know what I did? I made a whiskey salmon. So like I had a salmon, I put it on a skillet, and then I had some butter, garlic on it, like minced garlic, not like garlic powder. So like I had the butter and the minced garlic, and I was just frying it, and then I just popped open a bottle of whiskey and just like, I'm sorry, I'm a child. I love fireballs, man. When I'm cooking and I have to make a fireball, if there's an opportunity, it is the most entertaining thing ever. Bones, as you're gonna start making your own eggnog this year, Dave.
You recall that this is something that I do. So my chickens haven't been laying, and I've just kind of been busy, and I haven't made it yet. So I've decided that I'm just going to make a fresh one this year, because what I have done is make it in the summer and let it age.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that's really nice because you almost don't notice the liquor in it.
No,
like you age it with the liquor, but it's like smooths out over the months.
That's the thing with Bloody Mary mixes, right? If you make it correctly, you don't even taste the vodka in it.
Yeah, that's a good cocktail when you don't notice that you're getting drunk. Like for me, probably the best one in that category would be a Long Island iced tea.
You ever hear that, like when someone's never drank before and their first drink is a Long Island iced tea, and you just look at that person, you're like, bro, you are just setting yourself up for failure.
So I didn't know this, because I'm not much of a cocktail guy. I'm usually just like whiskey, right? So, and Bones gifted a One Turn Giants membership. Thank you very much, Bones. I'm gonna have to get onto the YouTube proper to find out who that goes to.
And then Anthony's...
But that being said, my wife, sorry, quick story. She was working at the bar, and I went with my buddy. Helicopter got it. Oh, she's lurking. She's here, and she didn't even say hello. But Helicopter is the recipient.
She's
of Bones'
incognito.
gift. She is, but one of the regulars. Nonetheless, I'm happy she gets it. Thank you, Bones, and welcome Ellie to the club. That's, I mean, we give everything away for free. It's just, you just give us money for the sake of giving us money. Let's be honest, and we appreciate it. We don't give you anything special because we don't treat anybody special. We treat everyone like equal. So like everything is open on our channel. That's that way we operate. Maybe one day you guys need to tell us what type of exclusivity you want, honestly, because.
Except rub and tugs, we don't do that.
Well, yeah, obviously within YouTube guidelines. You know what I'm saying,
LJJ
guys.
says Patron coffee.
We do everything for everyone. We'd have zero exclusivity. So if the guys that do donate, if you guys want something special just for you, let us know, because I like democracy and not communism. and I want you guys to have a say.
I get it.
You
You hate
lie for
Trudeau.
you.
You hate Trudeau. I get it. LJJ
Oh, come
says Patron coffee.
So, not a big tequila guy. That being said, it's also hard in Canada for whatever reason. Tequila isn't really a thing that's
It's
bountiful. Like you can get it,
yeah.
but it's not. It's not cheap. It's not one of the cheap options.
It's
let's say.
easier to acquire if you have a Latin American population
Yes.
near you.
Yeah,
It's
which we do not.
yeah, unless you do. Like for example, with me being in where I am, there's a place called Mexican Town, which is like a big, dense Latin American population there. So like you get all, yeah. But here's the thing with tequila, right? I think tequila is one of those liquors, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as you get older, you're more put off by it with how much it can mess you up.
So I actually read something on this. Tequila does not have quite the same regulations as say mezcal. So they're saying if you go for mezcal, like that's where you're not going to get the hangover nonsense. But with tequila, playing with fire a bit.
Yeah, no. No. Koika says Konosuba season 3 has been announced. Hell yes, next year. The Trolls, let's go.
You guys, nerds.
Oh, that show's gonna be fucking hilarious. If you're not an anime person, let's go. Bone says I got an idea. As a reward for donating, make Dave watch anime.
Oh, man. Just find me like a 5-minute clip of something to watch and let's get this over with.
Yeah, hey, you know what? That's it. Guys listening in on the replay in this on Discord, send a link of your recommended 5-minute anime compilation.
Well,
clips
yes. So that was actually an idea we had one night was just have a watch along of me watching anime, like my commentary on it. So that's something we can do exclusive in the Discord.
Absolutely, because we have a streaming channel, so we can just stream it there and we can all watch it together. I think we have
or
to
on YouTube. I can do it either way. I'm sure I can multicast or whatever.
I
find the Discord.
You can't stream anime on YouTube. We'll just get shut down for copyright.
No, yeah, that's true. It would be better in the Discord because I could actually stream the show.
He's like, I'll gift another one right now for that.
No, we should. That'll be fun. Especially those are the things once holiday season comes and I have a bit more time and I'm physically on holidays, not working and bored alone all day. That's the time to do that kind of stuff. What are you giggling at?
No, I can just imagine the diabolicalness that we could do.
No,
Jeff shows in saying, hello, guys.
Well, hello, Jeff.
Oh, Frankie just sent me one on Discord. Like we got to get...
Oh, boy. I got to put the Discord QR code up there. Scan that in. Go down in the description. Hit the link. That'll get you in.
Oh, that's funny. That's the food orgasm scene that Frankie just sent me.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, it could be fun. I'm not opposed to this. Jeff, you're late. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I need to
He's
figure...
probably doing some sort of schooling exam that nobody's ever heard of.
You know what, to be honest with you, Frankie, to get like a live, well, it's too late now. Dave will go on Discord and see it, but to like get his live reaction on it, I have to figure out a way to do it without getting us in trouble with copyright. Because I could just imagine Dave looking at this scene like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, Jeff's being super awesome because it's
being
Thanksgiving.
thankful.
Oh, you guys, you're amazing.
That's funny because Komikas, he's saying, Jeff, you're late. Or who said it? Yeah, there's a saying, right?
Did Bo just give another membership? Oh, now we're dick measuring.
Are we?
Between Jeff and Bones, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, measure away, guys.
Look, if there's one thing I can speak for as being an Albanian is we are the masterminds of being late. Albanians have no sense of time whatsoever. We are terrible at that.
And Vlad gets the membership. Another regular who's lurking today.
It's okay. I be at your place in 5 minutes, and then we have like the European goodbye that takes like 20 minutes instead of the 5. So Albanians are notorious for being late at all times. Frankie says you could just show his face while he watches it, and then Bone says, "Yeah, I got at least 2 inches."
Crunchyroll collection. Collection. Soma's final dish.
Yeah,
Food Wars.
It's 2 minutes.
Should I do this now?
You want to react to a 2-minute clip? That's fine.
2's fine. Okay, let's do a 2-minute clip right now. Let's see what we have. Put this up on my other screen.
Like, I wonder. No, we can't share the audio. I think we could share the audio of it, but it's in Japanese.
Oh, I don't know. Eggs Benedict. Oh, whoa, the tits on that one. A hot steaming bowl. It looks like a supernova just happened. So eggs Benedict for breakfast. This is what this clip's about. Oh, some green onion. Oh, the suspense as it's sliding into its mouth. They're all chewing. Close-ups on the lips. And the eggs Benedict exploded, and now the bitch is naked. Oh, how could this be so delicious? The sauce that covers the whole dish. This is a Japanese-style hollandaise sauce, accented with yuzu salt and soy sauce. Then there's pork grilled to a crisp that's balanced perfectly, with the light flavors of the shio kombu and shisho leaves mixed into the rice. Oh, well, there's tits. The star of the dish, the crispy tempura egg that melts on top of your tongue. He must have deep fried it after making it a poached egg. The egg white couldn't possibly be any softer. The yolk is velvety smooth to the point that is almost raw. But the fact that he was able to bread that soft boiled egg and deep fry it while somehow retaining its shape, that's utterly impossible unless that chef has superhuman skills. Just how much did he actually improve? Man, it's going on forever. And
They're
just
cool.
for this dish, the eggs Benedict takes you back, doesn't? Oh, sorry, different guy. I screwed it up. Take a breath. Okay, he's actually explaining how he made this dish. She made eggs Benedict during her training class. It was the first dish she ever. So is she a chef too?
Yeah, it's like a Hell's Kitchen in a sense.
Oh, hold on. What was that? So he got annihilated? I missed something that might have been funny. I feel like we've got past the good part already.
Yeah, no, you got past the good part.
Why is she on her knees now, though?
Why isn't
Okay.
she?
I don't know.
You made an amazing eggs Benedict.
Yeah, that was one of those. It peaked earlier on, and then it kind of died off.
Oh boy, context.
Oh man. So it was a little odd, but I mean, they drew her nicely. I can get down with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was expecting worse. Let's just say that. That was a good warm-up.
I mean, Frankie's not going to give you a full tentacle porn off rip or something like that. Come on
I
now.
was
Frankie's a man
sorta.
of class.
Come on. I mean, you got to come in hard.
Yeah, you're not going to hear the Yamate Senpai yet. You gotta let it marinate for a minute.
But yeah, I mean, I'm taking that all the wrong way now.
Yeah, we got to be careful because we don't want to. We want to lower you a little bit into the rabbit's hole, but we don't want to let you fall into it because then you just come back and it's just like, whoa.
All right, guys, just load them up. I do have to move on to my wife's stream now and help her out with that one.
Yeah, let's sign off. We were gonna sign off 40 minutes ago, and we held up for another 40 minutes. Translation: we just did the Albanian goodbye in streaming. Thanks, guys.
That's still good. Yeah, Bones. We'll get yours next time. I promise.
Hit the music. Hit the music.
Hit the music. I know. I was just gonna hit end. Fuck it, like
Fucking
in full
monkey
on
in the
mask.
basket.
Okay, yeah, load them up, guys.
Hey, yeah,
I
do you wanna-
promise I won't. Dash,
you-
you watch them. Tell me which ones, then I will watch.
Okay, yeah. Put them in on the Discord. Discord link is in the description of the video, as well as the QR code on top of the screen. There is a tab called Anime made on Discord, so throw in your best clips, and we'll have Dave react to them.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not doing anything right anymore.
Yeah, your music was like muting you out. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow for the call-in show and as well as the match day show on Sunday. So, guys, we'll catch you later.
Found it. See? I'm rattled. I'm razzle-dazzled. Till tomorrow, guys.